ሰላም ሰላም ክቡራት ተኸታተልቲ መደብ ናይ ሕጂ ድማ ብዛዕባ እዚ ዩትበር ናይ ኣጃርባጃን ኣብ ኤርትራ ኣትዩ ኩሉ ነገራት ዝምልከቶን ዘይምልከቶን ናፅነት መኒኻ እንታይ ትገብር ኣለኻ ከይተባሃለ ስለ ዘቕረቦ ኩሉ ትፅቡቕ ነገር ናቱ ናይ ሓበን ሓቂ ተሓይሽ እዚ ንሪኦ ዘለና ኣብቲ ናይ ኣብ ግዜ ደርጊ ኣብ መንጎ ኤርትራን ኢትዮጵያን ዝነበረ ደማዊ ኩናት ኣብኡ ዝተማረኸ ሓፂን ከቢድን ፎኩስን ኣፅዋር ናይ ደርጊ ተኣኪብሉ ዘሎ ቦታ መፅኡ እቲ ሓቂ ኤርትራ ዝኾነ ፀግዒ ከምዘይብላ ከምዘይነበራ ናብቲ ሰዓቲ ኢትዮጵያ ግን ናይ ሩስያን ናይ ኣሜሪካን ዓበይቲ ኣለዉ ዝበሃሉ ናይቲ ግዜ ዝኸበዱ ኣፅዋር ሓገዝ እንዳረኸበት ከላ ንኤርትራ ብትሕቲ ዓቕሚ እሞ ከዓኒ ዝኾነ ናይ ኩናት መሳርሒ ዘይብላ ከላ ገጢማሲ ክሳብ ዝኩሉ ዝዕንወትን እዝን ኣብ ልዕሊ ዓባይ ኢትዮጵያ ዓብይ ዓወት ኣመዝጊባ ከም ዝነበረት ብዘይሕብዕብእ ኣብዚ ናቱ ቻነል ኣቕሪብዎ ኣሎ ክንሪኦ ንኽእል ኢና ክንሰምዖ ንኽእል ኢና ናብ ከብለኩም
The leader of the country has been in power over 33 years right now since the independence of the country. And also another fact about the country is that this is one of the most isolated country in the world. And I want to share more about the history of this country. And I want to share about the brutal war Eritrea has seen for many years, many decades. And since 1961 to 1991, actually this country been in war with Ethiopia, and what we are seeing right here is actually called graveyard of the tanks. It is interesting place. This is one of the places that been most photographed in whole of Eritrea, and as you can imagine right now it is more like a tourist attraction for the people to arrive and look and also remember the brutal war they had to go through to achieve their independence in 1993. So the war lasted exactly 30 years, from 1961 until 1991, and 1993, the same year as I was born, this country became independent. And all this junk you see here, those are the weapons and cars and artillery, everything collected here from Ethiopian side. So Eritrea was in war with Ethiopia during all these 30 years, and Ethiopian side actually was much more stronger. And in the beginning of the war, actually Americans were helping Ethiopians fighting against Eritrea. And later on, Soviet Union got involved, and they were supporting Ethiopia with the weapons, with the tanks, and with the ideas and support, advisory to win the war. But Eritrean side almost has got no support or whatsoever, which made them the weak side. But in reality, as a result, Eritrea actually won the war after 30 years. So Eritrean side was actually super weak, and they didn't have any international support or whatsoever. But the Ethiopian side were getting support from Americans first, and then afterwards Russians, the Soviet Union at that time. So everything you see here, most of them are Russian equipment. So that's like all the tanks, all the cars you see, all these big military cars you see, they're all Russian equipment that have been supported to Ethiopia to win the war. But as a result, they are here as junk right now, laying around this area. It is pretty interesting, come close to vehicles and cars and the tanks, as you can see. And when you look them from the outside, you can easily recognize that they're actually Soviet tanks. So here we will find American tanks, also Soviet tanks as well. There are lots of dogs here too. I hope they are friendly. I hope we don't have any trouble with them, but they seem like living here in the shade of all these cars. This is actually the brand called Gazelle. This is one of the cars Russian invaded during the invented during the war. The Gazelle is the name of the animal. It's like so light and it just jumps around and goes so fast. That's where the name come from for this car. It's called Gazelle. And because these cars were actually used during the war to get from place to place, especially as an ambulance. Imagine in the war conditions, no roads, so those cars were everything they needed. So that's one of the cars that's still getting used actually in most of the post-Soviet countries, and including Russia as well. It is very interesting to be here, to be honest. It is a massive area. You can go left and right. I think we're going to find some American tanks later on our trip. So, but I have to also give you a little bit backstory about the history of the country. So Eritrea was actually colonized by Italians for exactly 51 years, from the year 1860 until 1941, before the World War started, the Second World War started. Wow, this is crazy. I'm not sure if this is possible to open any of these doors from outside. I guess impossible, as it's a military vehicle. It wouldn't be easy just to open it, but I'm sure we can definitely climb up to see the inside from this side. There's not much left here, as you can imagine. It is just a jungle. Oh wow, when you come up, you can actually see that there's an extension goes further. It is insane. So 1941, until 1941, Italians were colonized this country. That's why if you watched my other videos, you see how much Italian influence they have in this country, especially from the food perspective. You can find pizza, pasta, cappuccinos, and croissant, and some other things that Italians love to eat. So this is one of the good sides about the colonization, but also there are lots of beautiful architecture left behind in the city in Asmara. So what I wanted to say, first Italians colonized the country until 1941, and in 1944, 1945, I believe, since Italy lost the Second World War, then British took the control of these areas. So it was under British for a while, and then also United Nations actually gave Eritrea autonomy inside Ethiopia, but then Eritreans didn't feel like there's enough freedom and they wanted their own freedom. And then since then, 1961, that's when the war started, and Eritrea just was fighting for their freedom for 30 years with Ethiopia, and as a result, they're an independent country.